With shipping costs still at near all-time highs and competition on Amazon as fierce as ever, it's really important that if you are an Amazon seller, that you use whatever opportunities there are available to protect your bottom line, i.e. your profits. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is walking through 4 different techniques that I myself have employed in order to protect my profit margins. Now, all of these techniques are completely free, and I guarantee that at least one of them will work for you in order to increase your profits. So the first method that absolutely everyone should see if they can do is to assess their packaging and the size of it. So if you are doing Amazon FBA, then you'll be charged a fulfillment fee. And that fulfillment fee is based on the dimensions of your packaging, as well as the weight of the packaging and the product itself. So what you should do, and this actually saved me about 20 pence per unit when I assessed it a couple of months ago. What you should do is take a look at the fee rate card, and I'll put a link for that in the description below, and see if there's any way that you can basically move your product into the next category down. So if your product is currently classed as small oversize, so it's got these dimensions here, and it weighs, say, under a kilo, then there could be an opportunity to reduce that cost of £4.8 to anything here. So between £2.18 and £2.49, which is actually quite substantial. I've had a few students before mail me and say that their product just went over the dimension kind of barrier or the dimension criteria specified here. And they found ways to make the packaging smaller, which meant that the actual fulfillment fee dropped drastically. And you can see it is actually quite a dramatic drop. It goes from £4.8 for under a kilo to £2.49. So assess your packaging. When you get the product from your supplier, or when you get a sample, think, is there any way that we can make it smaller? Can we make it lighter by maybe getting rid of unnecessary things that are inside? So maybe you've got lots of pieces of cardboard or foam or whatever. It really could make a substantial difference. So that would be my first piece of advice. And don't forget that doing that isn't just going to save you money on paying for fulfillment fees, but it will also save you on shipping costs as well. If you ship by sea, then a lot of the time you'll realize that the cost of sea shipping is based on cubic meterage, right? So, or cubic metric, I'm not quite sure how you say it, but it's based on the dimensions of your product. So if you can fit more of your product inside of a container, then your average cost per unit, your shipping cost per unit is going to reduce. So that is my first tip. See if you can get the packaging to be reduced in size. It's also going to help the environment as well. So that's a bonus. My second cost saving tip is something that I have mentioned on this channel before, but I'm going to mention it again anyway, because this is a tip that applies to everybody that is a current seller. It is to get a cashback credit card. And the reason that this saves money is because if you are advertising on Amazon, which you probably are, you can tell Amazon to charge your credit card instead of deducting advertising fees from your seller balance. Now, this really adds up. I spend about £400 or £500 a day on advertising at the moment because I've got, a fair few products and it's a busy time of the year. So if I'm spending £500 a day on advertising and I've got a cashback credit card, that means that I'm getting £5 cashback every single day, which is equivalent to £150 per month cashback for free that I wouldn't have had I not had a cashback credit card. So that is another big tip from me. I have actually got a recommended card that I use. It's called Capital on Tap. And I have a referral code for that where you get £100 cashback straight away. And recently, they have actually made the card completely free. So you can get the card for free, you can get your £100 cashback, and whenever you spend money on advertising, on stock, on whatever that you pay for with a card, then you're going to get a 1% cashback amount, which really does add up. I know 1% might not sound like it's too much, but honestly, trust me, it will snowball over the year. I think in total, since I've had this card about 2 or 3 years now, I've received over £1,000 cashback, and I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have made that saving had I not had this card. So if you don't want this Capital on Tap card, there's a load of other cards out there that do cashback. Just make sure you get one. And it also gives you added protection if you buy something on Alibaba or buy something elsewhere and the goods aren't as described or something goes wrong, you're able to do a credit card chargeback. So you should really have a credit card for your business anyway, because it gives you that extra level of protection. The next method that I'm going to be talking about is less about saving money, but more about recovering funds that are rightfully yours that you probably wouldn't have recovered had you not followed these steps that I'm about to walk you through now. So sometimes when you send goods to Amazon, they will count the units and they will miscount. And they will do that because they've either lost the units or just something's gone wrong. So a lot of the time, if you actually look at your shipping queue when you log into Amazon Seller Central, you will see it will say total units expected, total units received, and it will be quite a bit less. You can see here for me, I shipped 3,964 units, and it said they actually received 3,922 units, which is actually, quite a big difference. It's like 42 units, and if each of those are costing me £5, that's like 200 quid that I've kind of spent on stock and lost. So what you can do if you see that that's happened in your shipping queue is click into the actual shipment, and you do need to wait until the shipment is closed before you can do this, which is typically 40 days after they start receiving or thereabouts. Just keep an eye on it and you'll see it will say status closed. Once it does say that, and if there is a difference, you can go into contents, and then if you scroll down, you can see it will basically say units expected, units located, and then discrepancy. And what I've done here is I've submitted a case, and all I needed to do is provide my invoice to Amazon, and then just to explain that there were no issues with packing, there was no problems with the boxes themselves, etc. And they will launch an investigation. So it's really easy to do. All you basically do on a closed shipment is go on to status, and then you just press the drop down box and tick investigate. What will then happen is the next day you'll get an email from seller support saying we're researching, we're trying to find out what's happened. And then a couple of days later, you should get a reimbursement if they can't find your missing units. And you will see, I'll put it on the screen now. I had this happen the other day. They basically lost an entire carton of like 80 units, and they just emailed me and said, we've reimbursed you. And the reimbursement amount, it's not quite the cost price. It's actually a little higher. So it's as though you sold them. Probably a bit less than actually selling them. So the profit's about half, I'd say, but still it is better than just, saying goodbye to those units that you've lost and didn't realize that you could follow these steps for. So that is one thing that you can do to recover what's rightfully yours. The next is to do with customer refunds. So for those of you that are actively selling, you'll know that refunds are just part and parcel of selling on Amazon. They happen all the time. For me, I get at least 5 a day. But the way that it works with Amazon refunds is they just log on and say they want a refund, and then Amazon will deduct the amount from your bank account. And they'll do that without the customer actually returning the product. So they give the customer, I believe it's 30 days to return the product. And they say in their terms and conditions, in the Seller Central terms and conditions, if the customer doesn't return the product within 30 days, then we will credit your account. Now, believe it or not, I mean, this isn't actually a surprise, is it? That kind of doesn't happen sometimes. It will just get forgotten about, or I don't know what happens, but you just don't get reimbursed. So it's really important from time to time, if you do this once a month or something, to go into your reports. So you go into the side menu, you go into, I believe it's return reports here, and then you press view FBA reports. And that will then load a page that looks similar to this. No, it's not actually that one. It will load this reporting page, and then you scroll down to here where it says FBA customer returns. You click that, and then you'll then be shown all the units that have come back that customers have actually returned. So you basically need to change the event date to be something like last 90 days, and you need to compare the order numbers that have resulted in a refund. So that will be in your email inbox, or you can also check it out within Amazon by going into reports and then payments and then filtering in all transactions. So you'll do that, and then you need to compare those order numbers to units that were actually returned. And if units weren't actually returned, if you can see a refund, but you can see that the matching order ID isn't there within this FBA customer returns part of the site, then what you need to do is message Seller Central a summary of all the order numbers that haven't been credited to you, and Amazon will reimburse you. So again, that is just effectively free money. It's reclaiming what is yours, what is rightfully yours. And, it shouldn't have to be done really, but unfortunately it does. It slips to the wayside and people forget about it. So you can either do that manually, or Helium 10 has something called Refund Genie. So I do have a discount link for Helium 10 and I'll put that in the description box below. And that is really easy. That just does it automatically for you. So you sign up, you click Refund Genie, and it will basically crawl like your entire account and it will find out what reimbursements you're owed. So check that out if you don't want to do this more long-winded method. The final method that I follow is all about increasing repeat business from customers. And the reason that it's so important is because if you can get customers to buy from you again, then in all likelihood, you're not going to be paying any advertising costs because they'll just search for your product directly and therefore your profit margins are going to be higher. Or alternatively, you can direct customers to your own website where you're not going to be paying Amazon's referral fee and you're not going to be paying Amazon's fulfillment fee if you're able to ship yourself. So what I do is I have an insert card in my packaging and it basically says, thank you very much for your purchase. We really appreciate it. It gives them a bit of background to me. It says I'm a UK company, passionate about this niche, etc., etc. And then it says, we would love for you to recommend us to your friends. We'd love to have you purchase another. Here is a discount code. And I give like a 5% discount code. And then I just refer them to my website, which is permitted. It's not permitted if you're doing it within the Amazon messaging service or on Amazon's website. But if it's within the packaging, it's allowed. If you're not comfortable doing that for whatever reason, bearing in mind that thousands and thousands of big companies do this, then you can just give an Amazon only discount code or get them to email you and then you can send them a link to a discounted version on Amazon. But that will save you a ton of money because you're not paying for advertising costs. And if you are directing them to your own website, like I said, you're not paying that referral fee and you're not paying that fulfillment fee. So in terms of the insert cards, they shouldn't cost more than 3 to 5 cents each. And one Brucey bonus extra tip for protecting profits even more is to get your supplier, if possible, to print it in black and white. So don't use color for your insert card and your packaging. Believe it or not, but it will save you a bit of cash to have your packaging in black and white. One of my products just uses entirely black and white packaging and it looks great. I got somebody on Fiverr to design it using like different shapes and vectors and stuff. And you wouldn't know it's not color because it just looks like it's meant to be in black and white because it's all like little cool drawings. And that saved me, I think it was about 20 cents per unit versus using color. So that is another tip, guys, to save money, is a little bonus that I've just thought of at the end. Instead of having color packaging and color insert cards and instructions, ask your supplier what the price difference is to just go with black and white because really customers don't care. So those are my tips for protecting profit margins, increasing profit margins, recovering money that is rightfully yours. Hopefully you guys have found value in this video. If you have, or if you've got any other tips to basically, increase the amount of profit in your pocket at the end of the day, then post in the comment section below. So that is it for this week, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your week and I will see you next time.